For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Fulta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
One more game before we're kicking back on the coast of somewhere beautiful with a margarita in our hands and enjoying the sunset over the Pacific. Not there yet, though. One more game. The Detroit Red Wings in town to take on the Utah Mammoth tonight at the Delta Center. This is Mammoth Daily. I'm Mike Fulta. He's Adrian Denny. We are your Hockey Night in Utah radio crew. AD, no practice yesterday. This group gearing up for a matchup tonight against the Detroit team near the top of the Atlantic Division standings, a team that I think a lot of people had pegged as a group to maybe, make a nice push for a wild card spot out east this year. They have exceeded everybody's expectations, and they are one of the top teams in the NHL as we sit right now. So a great test for Utah tonight.
It kind of started when they made that coaching change around Christmas time last year, Mike. They had expectations going into last season, and around Christmas time, they were just kind of about 500. They bring in Todd McClellan. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's coached the Sharks, coached the Oilers, coached the LA Kings, and they've been on the upswing. And they come into this year, their opening night is a disaster. John Gibson, who they just got from Anaheim in the offseason, did not have a good game. They got blown out, but they've put together a nice season. They've led the Atlantic Division for most of the season, Mike, before Tampa Bay got red hot with just one regulation loss in the last month and a half. And they're coming into Salt Lake off of a big win over Colorado. They shut out the Avs 2-0 on Monday night. A shutout for John Gibson, his fourth. He's second in the NHL in shutouts, but it came two nights after they had lost at home 5-0 to the same Colorado team. And they quickly got back and reset and scored in the first minute of the game, 33 seconds in on a 2-on-1. That was it. Shut down Nathan McKinnon. Marty Necas was out, but it was a nice bounce back by Detroit, which they've done. They haven't gone as you see there. They haven't lost two straight games in regulation since Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And so they've been consistent. Mammoth saw them in December. Utah was coming off a loss in Boston. The Red Wings were coming off a win against the Islanders. Utah went in after a scoreless first period, beat them by a count of 4-1. Detroit's power play got them their only goal. Bear mentioned that after the game on Monday. It's 8th in the NHL, but they're in second place in the division behind Tampa Bay. And it's a great test for the Mammoth. It's another opportunity to beat a team 2 times in a row. We saw that challenge against Dallas on Saturday. You always know they're going to be better the next night, as Detroit was after facing Colorado on Saturday on Monday.
Yeah, and the Red Wings, a team that when you look at their goals for, their goals against, don't jump off the page necessarily. 20th offensively in terms of goals for, 12th defensively in terms of goals against. But AD, they win close games. They've got the best record in the league in 1-goal games, and they play a complementary style with that good power play. They have a top half penalty kill, and all of those ingredients add up to winning hockey. And as you pointed out, haven't lost back-to-back games in regulation since Thanksgiving. They were winless in 3 games before they snapped that skid against Colorado. They had lost a couple games in extra time, but it's a team that's good off the rush. They create the 9th most high-danger chances overall, and it's been fun to see the ascent in Hockeytown this year. Mammoth took care of them back at Little Caesars Arena earlier this season, but it's a team that's not to be trifled with, AD, and I don't know what you think of them overall so far, just watching them on TV throughout the season, but they got a lot of high-end skill guys. They have, some of their younger guys are entering their prime. Maurice Sider, a great two-way defenseman. And then Lucas Raymond as well has been emerging as a star in this league for for several years. Alex DeBrincat with 30 goals. But this is a tough team that the Mammoth handled last time out, but beating them twice in a year is going to be difficult.
Patrick Kane as well. The resurgence of his career in Detroit. Now the all-time leading scorer by American-born players as he moved into that spot last week. That's, it seemed like he was about ready to retire, and then he ended up in Detroit, which seemed like it was going to be a one-year thing, and it's turned into a multi-year thing for Patrick Kane, a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, a guy, Mike, that Clayton Keller has admired growing up and during the course of his career. So watch those two guys tonight, Mike, if you're in the arena, and see if you see any similarities between the two American-born forwards. But for Detroit, they had that playoff streak, Mike, that ended in double digits. Would have had to been 2015, 2016 actually. Was Jeff Blashill's first year there. Mike Babcock went to Toronto, and then they made the playoffs his first year not there, but they haven't made the playoffs since 2015, 2016. Looks like they're going to be back, and it's been a consistent year for them. And as we've seen from Utah, 8-2 after a loss since December. Detroit's been very similar and not losing 2 games in a row in regulation since Thanksgiving. So big test for the Mammoth. For me, Mike, it was keep to your habits against Vancouver, feel good about it, win that game, and then finish it strong going into the break against Detroit. And if you do so, you're going to be in a playoff spot at the Olympic break for 3 weeks while nobody's playing, and you're going to sit there and be able to look at the standings and feel good about it.
And nothing left to save it for, right? You got a bunch of time off coming up after this. We saw last year when we broke for the Four Nations break, the Mammoth roll into Washington. It was a back-to-back, Carolina and Washington. That's about as tough as it got last year, especially out east. Mammoth got waxed by the Hurricanes 7-3 in Raleigh the night before. They go to play the Eastern Conference leading Washington Capitals, and they score 2 goals in the first, 2 minutes of that game, and end up winning 5-4 in a shootout. Nick Schmaltz, one of the heroes there. But nothing to save it for tonight. Let it all hang out and try to pick up 2 more points. Utah moving back into a wild card spot after their last win against Vancouver. But AD, anything else to set up tonight's game or even to polish off last game that you have in your clipboard there?
Yeah, I mean, the penalty 1 minute and 24 seconds into the contest against Vancouver didn't sit well. It was too many men. It was a detail penalty, and Detroit won the game by scoring in the first minute against the Colorado Avalanche. So I'd say dial that in. I liked what Nick DeSimone said when I talked to him on Monday after morning skate. He's like, yeah, first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes, middle 5 minutes, whenever it comes, we want to be on top of it, right? He's like, it doesn't change when we start the game, when we finish the game, where we are in the middle of the game. We want to be good throughout the game, but head on your swivel, knowing that Detroit got a 2-on-1 in the first minute of the game and shut out the Avs 2-0. Mike, that's a lot. As we've seen, haven't seen anybody go perfect in Colorado and Utah this year, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot to go through one of those places first and then to the second and to get 2 wins in a row. So we haven't seen that. So that's another advantage of the schedule and having these good teams in the region where it's easy to schedule teams. Utah to Vegas, like Vancouver has, Colorado to Salt Lake, as so many teams have had. Nobody's swept those this year, so hopefully the Mammoth can keep that rolling.
Yeah, Mammoth had a power play goal in the last game against Vancouver. That's not something we've been able to say a whole lot recently. Utah with the last place power play in the NHL right now, operating at just about 15%. So that's been a big area of focus for this group. I know a lot of the fans have been focused on it as well. And AD, we wanted to talk about the power play here, getting heading into this matchup with Detroit. And I know you have some numbers, you had some things you wanted to get to, but just I think maybe right off the top, we can get to something that you mentioned earlier on the radio, was that Mammoth bottom half of the league in terms of penalties drawn, right? Hard to get a rhythm when you're not drawing a lot of penalties. So that's an area where the Mammoths just haven't had a lot of opportunities on the power play. Now, that doesn't affect your percentage, but it does affect your rhythm and your chemistry on the power play. But before I get into any of mine, I wanted to turn it over to you because I know you got some stuff to get into on the power play.
I think the Mammoth went into Monday's game with the power play, Mike, just clear mind, clear head. Let's start over. And it started at morning skate on Monday. Head coach Andre Tourney liked what he saw with just the way things were going. And Utah liked that first power play. Dylan Gunther had that grade A chance that he wired, and it didn't hit the net. And then you come back out, second one, Mikhail Sergachev scores 16 seconds into the power play, and you had two chances. You went 1 for 2. But for the Mammoth, it was a start to feel better about things. And it's it's been a struggle. And we had a comment on YouTube after the game Monday. He's like, Dark Knight Rises said,
coming down from Idaho.
Yeah.
You guys
he's like,
we have a Dark
Knight
Knight Rises and we have a Batman in our YouTube comments, by the way. So I don't know if you guys have to duke it out or what, but we have a couple different variations of Gotham's hero in our YouTube comments. Have you seen the Batman movies, Adrian? I know you haven't seen Star Wars. You're not a movie guy. You seen oh my God. Oh, sweet Lord. You haven't seen Dark Knight, haven't seen Dark Knight Rises, haven't seen Batman Begins.
They've been on the bus over the years. I've never paid any kind of attention to it because I just don't understand it. It doesn't make me laugh out loud. Like, I like laugh out loud movies.
They're definitely not laugh out loud movies.
No.
But they are fantastic. I am a big fan of the is it Christopher Nolan who directs them, I think? You gotta come on. All right. We've got some homework for you. Someone else gave you homework too, right?
I have a homework assignment to do. I have a homework assignment to do over the break on standings. Say if we went 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime. I'm sorry, 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime win, etc. Kind of gauging the points. Would it be any different in the standings? Because you got a lot of teams like Vegas who go past regulation, it seems, every night. Pacific Division seems like it does it every night with all their teams. So the question was, would the standings be any different if you had different tiers of points for things that happen? Okay. So that's my homework assignment over the break.
Okay, so that's going to involve math. I'm an easy teacher. I'm a substitute teacher. I'm giving you just something to watch. I come in, babysit the kids for an hour, and I just turn on a video, right? Like, that's the kind of teacher I am. I just want Adrian to watch Star Wars and the Batman movies. Can someone back me up on this? Like, anybody else that has movies that Adrian needs to watch because he probably hasn't seen them, list them in our YouTube comments or hit us up on Twitter, please. We need a movie list for Adrian Denny here to see. There's so many like jokes and references that I've made that are all movie quotes that you just over your head this whole time. Yeah. And you probably laughed at him because you're being a nice guy, but you have no clue what we're saying.
Probably laughed at him because I thought they were funny. First time I'd heard them. Fresh. Wasn't recycled to me.
So I totally hijacked this power play segment. You were talking Dark Knight Rises, wrote in. Please continue.
Yeah, and he's talking about power play at points this year has been good. 7 for 20 during the 7-game winning streak. And he makes a reference to the Rangers team a couple years ago that had a top 5 power play, and it got better as the year went on. He's like, they didn't have any injuries. They had the same power play units the whole year, and the consistency there allowed him to stay on track. He's like, Utah's had Clayton Keller lose his father. That was an emotional thing that stayed with Clayton. You know, you could tell during during November and December, right? He was carrying it. Logan Cooley's been injured, right? You've had Gunther go out after the power play, had scored in 2 straight games, kind of looked like it was getting on track. So that was kind of his comment, like just some fluidity getting settled. I thought it was well thought out. But
I mean, Cooley wasn't even on the top power play unit last year. Now he was at the start of this year. He was at the start of this year. So that's an injury. I think for the most part, the personnel has been fairly consistent, and the reason they've changed personnel at times is because it wasn't working.
Sure,
it wasn't just because somebody was out of the lineup. It was because it wasn't working. I do think all that's valid to some extent. I think also a little bit from what we were hearing or what's been explained to me, AD, and you were around when we were hearing this too at morning skate, is just the change in the ways that teams kill penalties against Utah. And it's, if you want to get nerdy with it, it's diamond pressure, diamond penalty killing versus top down penalty killing. And I'll let Dom Moore explain that. Maybe that's a good segment for us later, having Dom Moore explain top down penalty killing versus diamond penalty killing. Think of it like like football. All of a sudden, you're used to seeing cover 4, then you see cover 2, right? It's different, and I don't think the Mammoth have. Well, the numbers say the Mammoth haven't responded very well to that. Last year, Clayton Keller was tied for the 3rd most power play points in the entire NHL. He had 10 power play goals. This year, he's on pace for 60% of that production last year. So that's a huge dip, and he only has 1 power play goal so far. So I think a lot has to do with other teams adjusting to Utah. And adjusting to, Dylan Gunther waiting for that one-timer. One thing I loved seeing, though, Adrian, was the puck going back the other way on the power play. Sergachev gets the power play goal, right? It's a one-timer set up by Gunther feeding Sergachev, where normally it's the opposite way. Normally it starts with Keller on the right wing, then goes up top to Sergachev, then across to Dylan Gunther. It goes kind of clockwise. Well, on Utah's goal, it was Gunther creating some space. Then he trades places with Schmaltz. And so it was actually Schmaltz with the primary assist, but he's in Gunther's spot. It goes left wing to the top. It goes counterclockwise. And because Sergachev is a left-handed shot, he's got that one-timer available versus when the puck is going clockwise. He can't shoot the one-timer because he's not a righty.
Yeah, and Mike, I think a lot of it is, just as I said, changing mindset. Coming in, let's start fresh. We're playing Vancouver, worst penalty kill in the NHL. Let's see here if we can start fresh, get a power play goal, go from there. And they liked how they started the first one, got their second power play situation, but yeah, they haven't had more than 3 power plays in a game, Mike, going back over almost a month. So, getting into that rhythm. So, but everybody felt good about it on Monday. We'll see how it translates into a game tonight against a team, as you mentioned, that's good in all aspects of special teams, like Detroit, who uses the power play to win games, who scored their only goal against the Mammoth on December 17th on the power play in a game that Utah won by a count of 4-1.
Yeah, and if Utah were to, all of a sudden have a top half, not even a top 10 or top 5, top half power play over the last stretch of the season, that basically means 1 more power play goal a week, right? Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's kind of what it equates to. Another power play goal every 3 or 4 games. And yeah, we'll see if the Mammoth can recapture some of the magic they had back in October on the power play. But it's been a bit of a challenge, but good to see it connect on Monday against Vancouver. I thought that was really, really encouraging. AD, we do have Cole Beaudoin coming up here on our Odd Man Rush. Did want to mention before, Barry Trotz has announced that he is going to retire at the end of this year as the general manager of the Nashville Predators. And kind of an interesting situation there in Nashville with Trotz kind of serving out the remainder of his term. made huge splashes in free agency. We all remember a couple of years ago, and those moves didn't work out. But he's extremely well respected around the league, and is going to retire, step away from the game, and have a chance to spend some more time with his family.
Yeah, so that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
First thing on Monday morning, some news across the National Hockey League. It sounded like he was going to fulfill his contract. That was what him and ownership agreed to over Christmas time. Wasn't announced or anything. And then in the last couple days, it was announced that he's going to step aside until they have a replacement for him. He'll be in the office. But yeah, first ever coach of the Predators. Won a Stanley Cup with Washington. By all accounts, a good guy. I'm not sure if you've ever interacted with him before, Mike, but seen him in a couple arenas and as he scouted and been there. But he's a nice guy, and you can tell that watching his bench interviews, and his players like him and love him. And Nashville brought him back when David Poile retired, the 30-plus year NHL GM who'd been the only general manager of the Predators.
And that was also in the middle of the season a few years back. It's interesting in Nashville, Bridgestone Arena, their media area is, or at least like the snack room for the broadcasters, it's across the concourse and like just in this little side room. So you have to walk like on the concourse to get there, and it's not a big deal. They got like hot dog rollers and some snacks and stuff like that. And Barry Trotz is always, shaking hands and mucking it up in there whenever I've seen him. But there's also kind of a bathroom situation in Nashville where the bathroom that's closest to the broadcast setup has like 4 stalls / urinals. And most of the time, like a lot of times, especially early in intermission, that line is going around the block to get to the bathroom. And so you're like, I literally don't have time to wait in this line. Like I have to be on air in a couple of minutes. And so someone grabbed me one time. I don't remember who it was, but they showed me that there's like a medical room, and connected to the medical room is a bathroom. And that's kind of where the media members have learned to migrate towards if the bathroom has a super long line. And so I'm waiting in like this medical room, basically. Like there's a first responder in there who's stationed, and we're all waiting for like this 1-seater bathroom, and Barry Trotz is in there with me. So I got to meet Barry Trotz as we're all just waiting in line for the John, and sitting on the doctor's table, just waiting to get in there. But that was the first time I ever met Barry Trotz. It was like this medical closet in Bridgestone Arena.
This story doesn't involve Barry Trotz, but it does. He was scouting a couple years ago. He came down to Tucson. Nashville was playing the next night up the road, and so he came to scout an AHL game. And our manager at game presentation comes up to me and he says, "What do you think about this? Barry Trotz is scouting at the game tonight. What do you say we do a Barry Trotz lookalike cam?" And I said, he would love it, but no.
Oh my gosh. That, like, would you have shown him in the arena? Like found him up top?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he would have finished the Barry Trotz lookalike cam.
Oh my gosh. That is almost a great story. That is almost a great story. But
and I ruined it. But
funny.
I said he would love it. He would love it. But no.
Well, good on you for your professionalism. But yeah, just wanted to mention Barry Trotz, bit of NHL news here, and kind of tie things up before we head over to Cole Beaudoin and our Odd Man Rush interview. He's with the Barrie Colts in the OHL right now, having a career season. And we caught up with him just a couple of days ago to check in on his season so far, his time with World Juniors, and what he's been hearing from the Mammoth development staff.
It's time for your Wednesday Odd Man Rush.
We're excited to welcome into our Wednesday Odd Man Rush, former first-round pick of Utah, one of the exciting prospects in the pipeline. He's currently ripping up the Ontario Hockey League. It's our own Cole Beaudoin. Cole, thanks for joining us, man. Before we begin, there's been some talk amongst the broadcasters, and we hear the highlights. We hear your name said different ways. Can we get your take on it? I'm sorry to put you through this again. You probably already did it at training camp. But for our Mammoth Daily listeners, can you give us your last name?
Yeah, it's Cole Beaudoin. So I'm French. My last name's French, so it's nothing crazy. I have definitely heard a lot of different ways on how people say it, but the right way is Beaudoin.
Cole, let's talk about the season. You've had your team's in first place, the Barrie Colts. You're co-captain with another first rounder, Keyshawn Aitchison. You both were at the World Juniors together, playing with a couple of your future Utah teammates, and Caleb Denoye and Tija Ginla getting the bronze medal there. But it looks like a season so far of some winning and some scoring, and your fourth year in Barrie with the Colts. Tell us how things have been since we last saw you this fall.
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, can't complain. Our team's doing really well, and yeah, like you said, being able to go to World Juniors with those two Utah members, but then also a guy on my team and in Cash, and it was so fun to be a part of that with him. I've been with him for 4 years now in Barrie, and we've become so close, and we're like brothers now. So it's been really fun, and yeah, it's great to also be a co-captain with him.
Cole, we were asking Tej this the other day, but what's something that you took away from training camp or those preseason games where you're going up against pro hockey players and you've told yourself, okay, after that experience, I'm going to work on this year in the OHL?
Yeah, I think it's just to kind of have confidence in myself. I think my best asset's just how hard I work. So I think doing that every single day on and off the ice always helps. But I always maintaining that and continuing to do that. But yeah, just having confidence and patience with my capability on the ice, and just being able to make plays and play my game.
Mentioned your co-captain, Keyshawn Aitchison there, but he was drafted in the first round by the Islanders this past summer. So what's it like having a fellow pick, a fellow prospect with you right there as your co-captain as you two go through about your day leading Barrie, but also preparing for your next step in hockey? How are you able to feed off of each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of polar opposites in the way that we kind of are leaders. I think he's kind of more of a loud, kind of outgoing kind of person. I'm just more of a lead by example type of leader. And then I think we try to help each other with kind of different ways on becoming an all around good leader. And obviously there's always things you're going to have to work on as a leader. So I'm trying to get things from him to kind of improve my leadership skills, and then him kind of trying to learn from me. So it's been really good to be aside with him, and yeah, he's been great.
Saw some fun content from World Juniors. I think it was you two on Team Canada doing some video shoots. It was like, who's better at this? You guys hold up. It's either him or me. And then I also saw an OHL crib tour. They went through your house and stuff like that. You had to get the room cleaned up for them when the cameras came rolling in.
Yeah, we were on the Ottawa road trip, and they kind of just want to do kind of a little day in the life for kind of what I kind of go through in the summers, even though it was kind of winter at that time. But yeah, lucky enough, my parents got it all cleaned up for me. So yeah, I kind of just went through the house, kind of went through my day. So it was all good.
When you were growing up, your dad was playing pro hockey, Eric, who played for the Grizzlies here a couple years before you were born. But as you were, a little kid and until almost 10, he was playing hockey overseas, Switzerland, Sweden, Germany, Russia. Did your family go over there during the seasons, or were you back home in Canada? And what was that like as you were a little kid? Obviously, all you knew growing up was your dad was a hockey player like everybody else, right?
Yeah, it's obviously kind of crazy the childhood I had, kind of being born in Ottawa, but then at a young age, kind of moving away and living in, like you said, Sweden for like 3 years, and then Germany for a year, and Switzerland for the last 4 years. So started playing hockey, started skating in Sweden, but then started actually playing hockey in Switzerland, where kind of played with my brother. It was a great time. Still have friends that I talk to this day that I met over there. So it was really good to watch my dad over there and play in Beal, and then to kind of come back to Ottawa and play my childhood all the way up until now I am in with Barrie.
We know the pro game is different in a lot of leagues in Europe than what it is in North America. But I'm curious for you growing up, do you feel like your hockey upbringing was different? Did you grow up in that European style, or was your dad trying to instill the Canadian values as a hockey player in you? I mean, how does that all, I guess, come out in the player that you are now?
Yeah, I think we're kind of similar players, just kind of the big frame, big body. I mean, he was 6'5", however much he weighed at that time. So kind of a big power forward. So I think that's always kind of what he's told me, and just always having that work ethic in my game and off the ice will always bring good things. So I think he definitely brought that Canadian way in me and into the kind of whole family.
As you guys have a really good season up there with Barrie, who do you keep in contact with from the Mammoth? Who's your main point of contact that you hear from, and what's that interaction like?
Yeah, I think for just kind of development, obviously kind of working with Lars, and just kind of keeping my skating up to point, and always getting better with that. And then also working with Nathaniel Brooks. He's been a huge help with me on just the skills side of things, and working on my soft touches and things around the net and my shot. Yeah, he's been able to come up a lot, so it's been really good to work with him.
They get on the ice with you. Is that right? I know in college there's rules about that and stuff, but in the OHL they can get on the ice with you, right?
Yeah.
What I remember I was watching that going back to the crib tour video, and you had the picture of Anze Kopitar, right? And I feel like a lot of guys maybe in the draft process, if a GM asks you, who do you want to play like, there's some right answers, right? Crosby, Kopitar, Barkov, the guys that can play it at both ends. But you legitimately, like, Kopitar was your hero. Why was he your number one growing up?
Honestly, I was just a fan of the LA Kings, but I kind of just kind of Kopitar was just kind of the player that I've always just loved. Like you said, just with the way he plays, how he's such a good leader on and off the ice. You see what he does off the ice with the community and things like that, and see how he can win, how he's won 2 Stanley Cups, and just the Selke winners. Just his whole around game is obviously amazing, and that's kind of what I want to do as kind of my career goes on. I kind of want to be that reliable center that can take the face up at the end of the game, or be out there to try and score a goal. So just that all around game, and play the hard hockey.
So when you were doing those interviews in the draft process, and they asked you, who do you model your game after? Who's your favorite? And you said Kopitar. Did you see any GMs that were licking their chops like, oh yeah, this is what we want. This was the right answer?
Yeah, they obviously every player's got a different role model, but obviously, like I said, you see what he's done. So I'd say it's a good player to compare yourself to.
When you watch the Mammoth and the opportunities that you have to see Utah, what about the team excites you, just in the style of play, in the leaders they have, the coaching staff? As you watch them, how do you envision yourself like popping in with the way that Utah plays to complement that? And of course, we've talked about your leadership abilities too, that I know we're really excited about.
Yeah, I think just with the way they play, you see how hard they play, how many big bodies they have up front, and how physical they play every single night, and how they kind of wear teams down. That's kind of what I want to bring, and that's kind of what I have in my game, and just kind of bring that all around all around game and being kind of, like I said before, relied on in any situation. I want the coaches to have trust in me, wherever it is.
We asked you about what you took from training camp. I want to know what you took from World Juniors as well, getting to play against the best of your age group. And I saw, you come right back into the lineup for Barrie and score a couple goals in your first few games back from World Juniors. So what was it that you took away from your time there playing with Team Canada?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was you just see how many good teams there are in the world and how good countries have kind of came. And obviously it's not the outcome we wanted, and it's obviously upsetting, but again, you gotta live and you gotta learn from those experiences and move on. And I kind of brought that back to Barrie and kind of said that we gotta need to be our best every single night. Doesn't matter if it's a bottom team in standings or top team. So just trying to bring that back and help the young guys out on our team. But yeah, definitely that there's a lot of good teams and a lot of good players out there. And if you play as a family and as a tight group, that you can beat anyone.
What was it like being with Caleb Denoyer and Tija Ginla? Those guys are in different leagues, right? Tij is in the Western Hockey League and Caleb's in the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. You're in the Ontario Hockey League, and we hope you're all playing against each other in the Memorial Cup when Tij hosts it in Kelowna later in the spring. But what was it like being around those guys, just kind of in a competitive setting, and knowing that pretty soon you're all going to be teammates together in Utah?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think we've gotten so close, us three, just with kind of the training camps and yeah, all the times we've been together for the past kind of 2 years, and all the Hockey Canada events too always help. So yeah, I mean they're both really good guys and really good players. So we kind of are excited to see what the future holds. Obviously, you got a lot of good prospects in the pipeline with Utah, so it's really exciting. And obviously, the end goal is to win a Stanley Cup with this organization. So yeah, it's exciting what's to come.
Tej obviously grew up right around the NHL with his dad. You grew up around hockey. Caleb seems like, from our limited experience with him, he seems like he's very social, very outgoing, very likable personality. What's he like in the competitive setting when it's World Juniors and everything's on the line? Like, do you still see that kind of fun-loving nature that he seems to have?
Oh yeah, it's nonstop with that guy. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always laughing. He's always joking around, but at the same time, it's serious, and he wants to win. When we were there, is every single game doing whatever it takes to win and try and bring home that gold medal. So he's definitely a goofy guy and brings the energy in the locker room, but also when it comes time to dial in and be focused, he's definitely has that as well.
What's it been like the last 4 years being in Barrie with the same team, the same community, and just being able to kind of grow with him? You all have had some really good seasons there, and this year looks like the best one yet to come.
Yeah, it's been really good. I have nothing but amazing things to say about Barry and what it's helped me and become as a person, but as a player as well. The coaching staff, my billets have been amazing and such great people. And then yeah, just the team alone, like you said, we've had good teams throughout my whole 4 years, so I can't complain. And like you said, this year's the one that we want to go all the way with. So I think we added some good pieces and we got a good team here and really tight group that I think we can go on a good run.
What's the physical training like for you? You know, playing major junior, and we know you love to chuck around the weights. You're a pretty fit guy. You got the home gym, all that stuff, and we saw you at training camp. But what's it like in a junior season when you're playing all the time? Right? I mean, are you lifting the same amount as you would like if you were in one of these college programs? How does that work?
Yeah, we have a really good kind of program. I mean, obviously when you're on the road or you're on 3-3, it's obviously a little tougher after games, not trying to get a lift in, things like that. But yeah, throughout the week we go to the gym, kind of split it between two groups, and then yeah, get a good kind of hour workout in, and then head to the ring. So it's a good kind of day, and by like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, you're kind of done and get to hang out with the guys. But yeah, you definitely still get to lift some weight and have some fun in the gym, and then get to be around the guys at the rink.
One of the things I think when you got drafted, we heard was you're kind of pro ready from just the day-to-day standpoint of how you go about your business and go about your routine. But how have Nathaniel and Lars helped enhance or add little items for you to add there as part of the process of becoming a pro?
Yeah, obviously they've been such a big help for me. I mean, the skating aspect is obviously super big, and obviously they can only come so much. So it's trying to take everything they tell you and then use that into practice. And then I think that's kind of where you're going to get the biggest outcome, is actually focusing on it in practice. And then once you get comfortable using it in games, and same kind of thing with the skill side of things, is trying to use that in the game, use the shot that he's teaching you, use the little touches, the passes, things like that. Just to implement them in practice, and so that you keep getting better, you keep improving. I think that's the biggest thing, is to keep my game on a progression and just keep going from there.
Tell us about Lars, a skating coach. I remember when we got him, we were so excited to add that position, and knowing his background from up in BC and coming down to skate with our prospects and our NHL team. What do you guys work on, and what tips does he have as a skating coach for a pro athlete and a pending pro athlete like yourself?
Yeah, he's really good, and it's really easy. I mean, he's not trying to change a big thing. It's just kind of talking to me and seeing how things feel, and yeah, we're talking a lot out there, so it's just kind of letting him know how that feels, or how different things feels on like tight turns, or different edge works, or my stride. Yeah, it's a good conversation, and it's kind of back and forth, and letting him know if this feels weird, then we kind of have to do a little change, or if it feels great, then continuing to, like I said, do it in practice, so that it progresses into games.
Cool. We're going to let you go here soon, but did want to ask you this, because we asked Tej. He's got a lot of long bus rides in the dub. You don't have nearly as long in the OHL, but you're still on buses all the time. What's your style on the bus? Are you in the back playing cards? Are you shutting it down, hood up, sunglasses and music, or what's your mode of operation on the road?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends. If we're traveling right to a game, I'm definitely kind of headphones on, and either having a little nap if I feel like I need one, or just kind of headphones in, and listening to some music, just kind of relaxing, and then kind of as we get closer, kind of ramp it up, get some more kind of hype music. But if not, if we're going the day before, or kind of a road trip, I'll play some cards with the guys, or kind of play a game, or whatever it might be, just trying to always kind of get closer with the guys. And I think that always
What
helps.
do you guys plan? What are you playing back there?
Honestly, it kind of depends. Like sometimes we play, there's this one game we play Imposter, so we'll play that.
Okay.
And then card games. Yeah, just kind of different kind of things.
That can get heated from my understanding of it. It can create some division there. So are you good at it, or are you always getting kind of they can tell when you're lying?
Honestly, it's kind of 50-50. I mean, sometimes it's super tough to kind of get away with it, but no, it's always a good time. And yeah, like you said, it can get heated, but the guys are good at that. Once the game's over, we're kind of back to normal and being friends again.
Well, Cole, we appreciate the time, man. We can't wait to watch you the rest of the way with Barry and the OHL. I know you guys are having a great year, and we'll be following along. So we'll talk to you soon, my man, and good luck the rest of the way.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Well, thank you to Cole Beaudoin and the Barry Colts for that interview, and really excited to see how this young man continues to develop as a hockey player and as a person too. Really fun to talk to. 58 points in 36 games so far for the Barry Colts. He's already only a couple points away from a career high in the OHL, which he set a few years back. So He is on pace for career best numbers. Good to see his development continuing. We had him in camp last couple of years, played some preseason games. Strong on pucks, wins a lot of battles. Been working on his skating. Taken 24th overall by Utah back in the 2024 draft. The Mammoth actually traded up to get him in that draft. So they saw something they liked and went up and got him. So another player whose dad played in professional hockey as well. So he's got that going for him. Good lineage and good kid who's having a really good season.
Yeah, another kid whose dad played a season for the Grizzlies in 2001, 2002, and then saw him around the AHL. But Bill, with Cole specifically, has said this is a guy that is going to help establish, set, and reinforce our culture in just how he is, how he plays. And Mike, it's been so much fun this season watching guys like Cole Beaudoin, Tisha Ginla, Caleb Denoye being healthy, watching our team on the ice and, kind of envisioning, okay, this is going to be a perfect spot where Cole Beaudoin is going to be in the future. Same thing with Daniil Boot. We've seen some good stuff from him in the last couple months, and you can see the building blocks. Okay, this is a big part of the future right here.
Yeah, no doubt. We do have to address some allegations made against. I'll say Mammoth Daily. I'll lump myself into this, but they're mostly made against you. Let's be real here. Randy Hull, one of our great day-to-dayers. Randy Hull comes in on the YouTube comments. He's a daily listener, daily watcher, and he says, "Hey guys, daily listener here. When you say, quote, implied win, I think you're using that word to mean expected, which is not what implied means. Implied probability in betting odds," and this is what Randy's saying, "makes sense. Minus 150 odds implies a 60% chance of winning. But calling a future game an implied win or loss does not make sense considering the definition of the word. I think you mean expected win or loss." So this is a direct assault from our friend Randy on our Mammoth Daily Dictionary, on your Mammoth Daily Dictionary and vocabulary. AD, how do you defend yourself? Guilty or not guilty?
Well, Mike, the Mammoth Daily Dictionary is a version of a dictionary, right? There are different interpretations. There are different versions of dictionaries and various other books.
Are there?
Mike? Yeah.
What?
And in the Mammoth Daily Dictionary, implied is something defined as an example. You've got a team like Seattle coming in on a Friday night who's been struggling. You've got a Utah team who's played pretty well against LA and Florida, but didn't win. It's the third game of a homestand. Is Utah going to go 0-3 on a homestand? Not likely. Is Seattle's track record in Salt Lake good? No. So those are your factors, your concrete facts coming into this. Is it legally binding? No. Is it strongly suggested? Is it something that everybody thinks is probably going to happen? Yes. So you take your two factors, your various parts of the equation, and add them up, and you get what you believe to be the answer, but is it 100% legally binding? No. Something could happen. Something could have gone south against the Vancouver Canucks on Monday night. Mike, you take that penalty, 124 into the game, you fall behind, you're in a 2-2 game late, you go to overtime, you get a point, and Vancouver has a puck bounce off of something after you controlled 4 minutes and 30 seconds of overtime. Was the deserved to win a meter 95% Utah? Yeah, but could something have happened where the Canucks won the game? Sure, it could have. If you didn't take everything in your equation and 100% get your equal answer. So it's not legally binding, but when you look at the factors, everybody is mutually agreeing that probably so.
That was a lengthy exposition. I don't know the word.
Randy will tell us.
Randy will tell us. That was a lengthy discourse trying to sway the jury one way. I present as Exhibit A of in evidence the definition of implicit. And when I saw this, I was worried that like Randy was an English professor or something, but he might be a statistics professor talking about implied probability. The definition of implied, the definition here from Google, Oxford Dictionary, seems legit, suggested but not directly expressed. I don't think expected and implied are like mutually exclusive here, Adrian. Like the Mammoth expected to win against Vancouver, right? Like that is true. We expected them to win. I think implied, my take on it, because I agree with you. I like using the word implied. It's an implied win. Yeah, the Mammoth have lost 2 in a row. Here comes Vancouver. Implied win. I think implied, when you look at the schedule and you say that the Mammoth are a playoff team, it's implied that you're winning these games. So maybe I'm kind of moving the goalpost a little bit here, but if you are saying the Mammoth are going to be a playoff team, which is what we've heard this team say, if you're going to say that Utah's going to continue to be in a wild card spot like they are right now, and they're going to continue their march towards the postseason, it's implied that you're winning games against Vancouver, because if you're not, you're probably not going to be a playoff team. So I think we expected to win the game, and it was implied that we win the game based on our expectations.
For me in hockey, Mike, expected is an analytical term that looks at the black and white, right? On the spreadsheet, on the video, where the puck is, right? Implied, you could still have something go unexpectedly. So
the only thing to agree with Randy is when something is implied, it's agreed upon by multiple parties without explicitly saying it, right? Like Vancouver wouldn't say it's an implied win for the Mammoth. They'd be like, no, we're going to try and win the game. But
we would, and hockey experts would. Is it legally binding? Are we going to be held to it?
But that's what expected is too. Expected is not legally binding. It's just expected. It's not set in order. It's not set in stone. I'm being devil's advocate here.
Yeah, expected is analytically, you're looking at more numbers, more black and white. Implied takes other variables, other external forces into it.
This is getting deep. Thanks, Randy, for sending us down this rabbit hole on vocabulary. We actually have more stuff to talk about here that's hockey related, but we wanted to address these allegations.
No, we appreciate it, Randy, and we appreciate the most that you listen every day and that you chimed in, because, hey, guess what? You've heard the math on the air. You've heard some of the English. Nobody here's claiming to be at expert level on any of that stuff. So don't be a stranger. And please, the day-to-day thing means the world.
Please keep correcting Adrian too. Any more English lessons for Adrian? Yes, pass them along. If they're for me, forget about it.
That might become a whole new podcast, Mike. English Daily.
We're learning. We're learning, and the Red Wings are building. Mammoth playing Detroit here tonight, 7 o'clock puck drop at the Delta Center. AD, just real quick, we wanted to kind of acknowledge this Detroit rebuild because it's been a long one. They've missed the playoffs in 9 straight seasons. Last time they made the playoffs was back in 2015, 2016 with Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk. A few years later, they hired Steve Yzerman as their general manager in 2019, and since then, they've been building, and it's been slow, and fans in Detroit have been restless. But now in year 7, they're one of the top teams in the NHL, and I don't want to say they're a lock for the playoffs, but it's hard to imagine them missing the playoffs at this point, considering where they are in the standings. What parallels do you draw to what has been built under Bill Armstrong?
This is great, Mike. This is awesome. You look at Steve Yzerman coming over from Tampa Bay, right where he started the build of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And by the time that he had exited, they hadn't won a Stanley Cup, but then they won 2, right? But you look at his building blocks. And then he goes to Detroit, right? The legendary Red Wing, to take a team who had made the playoffs for 2 decades plus straight, but knowing it was coming to an end. And he has gone in with a plan, and he's stuck with the plan, Mike. Has not deviated. There's been no shortcuts. There are non-negotiables in terms of contracts, in terms of trades that he's willing to make. You heard Detroit mention in a couple trade rumors this year, and they backed out of it because they were not going to make a big trade unless the player coming had a contract with term, a multi-year deal. So I think you can look at the Yzer plan and what Bill Armstrong has done and say, okay, these are 2 guys that came in with a mission that was going to incur processes and non-negotiables and patience to get where you want to be, but no shortcuts.
And they've built through the draft. They got Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond back-to-back drafts. How about this, AD? Currently have $34 million in cap space. Expected to have $39 million in cap space for next season. They've got all their big boys locked up for under $9 million over the next couple years. They do have to pay Simon Edmondson, that are big defensemen, but they've got a lot of their business tidied up. And here finally in year 7 of the rebuild, they're firing on all cylinders with a team that doesn't have a McDavid, doesn't have a Celebrini to immediately flip things like it's gone at San Jose, but careful stewardship has led to a team that's at the top of the standings without being near the cap, and they still have room to grow. We're gonna have to cut it loose and send everybody on their way to the Delta Center as the Mammoth get ready to take on the Red Wings. But Utah looking to finish strong here. Any final thoughts before we get to the last game before the break?
Yeah, we're back on the 7 p.m. schedule today, Mike. So we'll be on the radio at 6. Hockey Night in Utah, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, KSL Sports app, and encourage everybody as they're leaving the Delta Center to turn us on after a win. It's fun. We're spinning hits. We're honking our horns, and we're celebrating. So one more game before the Olympic break, Mike. Only game that Utah is going to have until about 3 weeks down the road after the Olympics. So they want to go out on a good note. We do too. Want to have some more fun. So encourage the folks to join us and stop by Section 6-7. Come see us at the Delta Center. Say hi, get a picture, give us some feedback. Let us know what's up, what you think of the game, who's going to be the star, and let's talk some hockey tonight. Top of Section 6-7 as always, folks. Come on down, hang out with us, and thanks for tuning in for another edition of Mammoth Daily. We will be back coming up tomorrow.
We'll be back coming up tomorrow. We're going to finish out the week as we head into the Olympic break We're going to be back Monday, the 23rd. We are going to have episodes during the Olympic break, but it will not be your normal Monday through Friday. We'll be on break. We'll jump on. We'll drop episodes as news comes. We'll be talking about the Olympics. Any other league news, we'll get on that. So just keep an eye out for those. Keep sending in mailbag questions as well. We'll get to as many mailbags as we can. But just wanted to give that programming update. We'll remind everybody tomorrow as well. But not going to be Monday through Friday over the Olympic break, but we will be back on the 23rd. We will have mailbags in between. We will have updates as well. So see everybody tonight at the Delta Center. Mammoth looking for 2 more points here against one of the top teams in the Atlantic.